all my formal education, which I done a business management, it's right here. And it's been 5-6 years. I haven't even opened the zip. And this is just getting dust and rust right here. I might just want to burn it one day, but I sold a lot of stuff from a Poundland as well. Okay, so before we start the first episode of Real Business Podcast, I want to thanks to our sponsor, Osome today. Osome is an accounting and bookkeeping solution for e-commerce sellers. Like, they are specialized when it comes to accounting and bookkeeping, especially for e-commerce sellers. So if you sell on eBay, sell on Amazon, they can help you with the business registration, they can help you with the company formation, accounting and bookkeeping. So I'm going to put the link for them inside the description. Make sure you check it out, and thanks to Osome for sponsoring this podcast. I used to do this Zencha live Zencha show, Ask Zencha. We changed the name many times, and I used to go live on every Sunday 7 p.m. The people who've been watching my channel from probably the start, they know about it, and then I stopped. So I came up with this idea that there are certain topics that I cannot discuss in a YouTube video. Normally YouTube videos are about 10 minutes long, and there are certain topics that need to be discussed in the details. So this is episode number 1 of Real Business Podcast. I'm going to release one episode on every Sunday. This is a bit long form content, but I can promise you one thing. I can guarantee you one thing. If you are somebody who is working and you want to quit your job and you want to turn your side hustle into a full-time business, which you can rely on, you can put the food on the table, you can pay your expenses. Trust me, this podcast is going to be really, really helpful for you. So in the first episode, what we're going to be discussing today, I'm going to talk about a little bit of about myself, how I started, and over the period of time, how I actually managed this business and how I turned this business into something which I can rely on a full time. So the purpose of telling that story is to actually, help you in a way that you can do same thing. Because this is something that I have done. And to be honest with you, I'm not shy to say that I'm really, really proud of myself. I get a lot of time to do the things which I like. So the whole idea of me quitting my job and starting a business was buying my time back. So I can do the stuff in the way I control the time, not the clock actually control me, to get my freedom back. So also I want to talk about the things which I have learned. Like, I'm going to talk about 5 to 6 different things which I have learned, which really, really going to help you to actually start your own business in the way I started as well. So I'm going to put my example in front of you. So first of all, my name is Zencha. I'm originally from Pakistan. I was born there. I lived, I would say, most of my life in Pakistan. I was about 19 when I came to United Kingdom. I done business management from here. And after I did the business management, I came out freshly, out of college. I started one job, and that was like 9 o'clock. I used to start that job and finish it about 7 o'clock in the evening. And then I had another job because, you come out of a college and then you get into the job market. First time when the money will come inside your bank account, you feel like you are a millionaire, to be honest with you, because you worked entire month and then you get your salary inside your bank, and that's a lot of money. It feels like a lot of money at that time. So I wanted to make more of it. I was very money oriented at that time. Well, some people will say I'm still very money oriented at this time. I'm very materialistic, but I'm going to talk about it how I changed, how I give a priority to different things over the period of time as well. And that's the reason I actually started the business. So I used to start 9 o'clock in the morning, finish that 7 o'clock in the evening, and then start another job 7:30 in the evening. And finish that job 3:30 in the morning. I was donkey, honestly. I was working like donkey day and night. I remember only used to sleep maybe 4 to 5 hours in a day. And then, day and night, same consistent schedule. I done this for a couple of years, and then I realized I wanna be somebody who actually control the clock, not the other way around. Not the clock will control me. When I talk about these type of thing, some people might say like, I come across a person who is not humble, but the truth is truth at the end of the day. I think I can say that I refuse to be slave of clock, because yes, money is very, very important, but what's the purpose of money once you can't do the stuff that you like to do? You can't wake up when you like to wake up. You can't go to bed when you like to go to bed. You know what I mean? So my sort of priority changed one day. I said like, I can't continue like this day and night. So I didn't had much savings, to be honest with you. I was saving a lot of money. I've been never a person who will just spend the money on, like, I somewhat I do buy maybe a bit of not too expensive, I would say mid-range clothes now, but that time was all Primark, like Primark, Poundland, all that type of things I used to buy. Like, I never, like, even now I buy a lot of stuff from Primark as well. It's like, who would buy a pajama from Gucci? It's completely stupid to buy those types of things if you just want to sleep in it. So I had some of savings and I opened a mobile phone shop in London. And the whole idea was like, I don't want to work for somebody, because one day I just sat down and I thought like, where do I see myself in next 10 years? Like, if I'm making, even at that time, I was making around 50,000 a year, which wasn't a bad income back in 2013. Like, I would say some people don't make that much now, but from two jobs, obviously. So I was like, okay, I'm making this much money, but I don't have a time. Like, literally, something where I like to spend my time doing something creative, which I'm personally passionate about. So my job was very much relevant to the mobile phone industry. So I decided to open my own mobile phone shop, and it was paying my bill from the beginning. Like, I would say, like, anybody who want to start their own business, especially on a high street, a physical shop, you have to go for your gut feeling, to be honest with you. Sometimes the math isn't good on a paper. This might not be the best business advice, but I'm saying, like, sometimes the things doesn't make sense on a paper, but the risk will pay off at the end. So it was one of those things. So I thought, okay, well, if it's just pay my bills, like, yeah, I was making a very decent money when I was working two different jobs, but I didn't had a time to literally do anything. But if I start my own mobile phone shop, I would have more time. Little did I know, actually mobile phone shop, the business was actually more commitment as compared to job, because on the job you probably off on Friday and then you get like sick leave, annual holidays, those kind of stuff as well. But the business was every day, 7 days, 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night, like 12 hours. I used to do 364 days a year. It was really, really hard to actually, have that much of commitment. It's more about the commitment, having to do something, same thing every single day. It gets boring over the period of time. So I thought, okay, well, wasn't that, I would say, initiative wasn't for, I would say to do something different. It was actually to improve what I was doing. So I thought, okay, well, I have this old mobile phone accessories, and in the past I sold a lot of stuff from a Poundland as well on eBay. So why I don't list all the mobile phone and accessories on eBay and Amazon and see how it goes? I did that. And it came to the point I was actually making more money as compared to, on a mobile shop, you have a repairing as well. So repairing is very profitable because it's a skill work. Like, normally once you go, like, a lot of people, I would say, they have their mobile screen broken. At that time, iPhone 6, 7 was very, very common, and we used to get the replacement part for little as 10 to 15 pound. And we used to charge 50 pound to the customer to replace the screen. So 35 pound is a profit in your pocket, and it only take little as 5 to 10 minutes to actually replace the screen as well. So repairing is very profitable. But even with the repairing, and the profit margins on the mobile phone shops are actually very higher. So even with more profit margin, even with the repairing, I was making more money from, by selling on eBay and Amazon. So moving forward a little bit, I thought, I come here I open the shop and I start processing my orders, like the orders which I receive on eBay and Amazon. This is all I do. Like, I wasn't taking my customers who used to visit the shop seriously. No, like, no offense to anyone who, like, supported me at that time. But for me, those was more like a bonus at that time, that I never considered them my primary customer. So my focus completely shifted. I thought my primary customers was my online customers, and my secondary customers will be the walk-in customers to the shop. So I was living in London, and then I thought, like, down the line, if I need to buy a house, I need to buy a property, I can't afford to buy that in London. Like, afford in a sense, like, mortgage was never in my book. Like, mortgage, credit card, I don't go for that. That's a complete different discussion. So I thought, if I need to buy a house in with my savings, with the cash, I can't afford that in London. So I moved to Newcastle upon Tyne, which is northeast of England. And since then I've been living here. I sold my shop. So with the shop money, and I put some money on the top, I bought a house in Newcastle, and I started living here. And when I came here, I was a little bit scared, to be honest with you, because I thought, okay, I had an income coming from my mobile phone shop, and eBay and Amazon was very consistent at that time. So on the books, it was like, yes, you will be able to rely by just selling on eBay and Amazon. But because I had two different incomes, so I never actually tried completely depending on eBay and Amazon income only. So I always had another income, like in this case was mobile phone shop. So when I finished that, my backup plan was, okay, I had my driving license from long time. So if the eBay and Amazon thing wouldn't work out and it wouldn't be enough, then as a backup, I can always drive Uber, or I can do Amazon Flex. Like, that was my idea, Anybody who is English watching this, you will say, well, typical thing, to drive a Uber. So that was my backup plan at that time. So I came over. Little did I know that because my mind wasn't really distracted. I was only focused on one thing, like selling online. I wasn't distracted, like, to shops or trying to do 7 things at one time. My business actually really, really improved. I added more products, and then I was like very confident. Okay, well, this is what I want to do as my full-time job. And like, ever since, I would say about 9-10 years, I've been into a business. And from past, I would say 5 to 6 years, I've been just only full-time eBay and Amazon seller. So this is my sort of origin story. And yesterday I was cleaning out my storage. I found this bag right here. This bag. And inside this bag, I have all the documents, like my school certificates and my college degrees and my business management and all that kind of stuff. It's been 5-6 years. I never even opened. Like, you can see how much dust is on here. You know what I mean? I remember buying this bag when I was back in a college. I bought this bag, and inside there are old documents. So I'm not trying to like sort of demean the value of education here. I think the reason I was smart enough to do it, and all the opportunities which came to me, and I was able to capture it at the right moment, got to do something, because I was like, as compared to a lot of immigrants who will come from a different country, I would consider myself like, I don't have a PhD obviously, but I'm doing a market analysis right here. As compared to a lot of immigrants who come over from a different country, they aren't always much educated. So I think education played very, very important role in that one as well. So this was little bit about me, and then I started this YouTube channel. Then the whole purpose was I started during the pandemic because I was bored. I didn't had anything else to do. And then it worked out really well, so I enjoy doing it. So I keep on doing it until today. So whatever I have learned from my business, this is something that I can share on this platform and help majority of people, because, it reached out to a lot of people. So what I want to talk about now is what are the things which I have actually learned from business, by like from the beginning to end. So first of all, you have to start doing something which you will like as well. And you probably have heard this multiple times, and I never actually understood this. The reason I say that, and the reason the way I understood it, because when I quit my job, like 9 to 5 job, wasn't just 9 to 5 job, I would say 9 to 3 o'clock next day. That was my job. When I left those two jobs, I didn't leave them because I wanted to make more money. I wanted to do something which I like, which I can grow myself within that business. So I always been very, very, interested in technology, mobile phones, tablets, opening them, repairing them, different types of cable, different styles of cable. Like always had, probably people have a collection of, watches and different car. I would say I have a collection of different charging cables. So I was very, very interested in it. So to be honest with you, when I thought about it, I said, if I need to live and survive, how much money do I need? So at that time, I think, if I will make about £1,000 profit, which personally, after paying obviously the rent for the shop, the staff cost, business rate, taxes, all that kind of stuff, if the £1,000 will be left over, I think this will be more than enough, because I was renting a room at that time. I didn't had a house, I just had a room in London, and that's my expenses was next to nothing, to be honest with you. So when I started this, that wasn't because I wanted to make more money. In fact, for coming from somebody who was making about £50,000, I started to make less than that when I jumped into my mobile phone business, when I had a shop, and I made less money for a couple of months, I will say, but not just couple of months, I will say 6, 7, 8 months, because once you start a shop, especially if you are in my situation, you don't have a lot of money to get started with. So if you don't have a lot of money, you can't have all the variety of different items. So if the customer comes to your shop and they ask for something, okay, well, I want iPhone, that model, and I want this type of case, the chances are you might not have it because you don't have much variety, because you don't have a money to invest at the end. So I was making a very less income, but I was never disappointed. To be honest with you, I was more happy, because even though it was a very big commitment, I used to get sick days and other holidays and stuff, they was partially paid as well when I was working, but the satisfaction wasn't there, the happiness wasn't there, my creativity wasn't there. When I was on a shop, I remember doing a lot of different creative things. Like, for example, I remember the market where I had my mobile phone shop, it was a bit rough area. So everybody had a big signs in their shop, like no refund, no exchange. So when I walked in to the shop, once I opened the shop, I thought, okay, well, that won't look good. The customer who will walk into the shop, if they will read that, automatically, subconsciously gonna think something is wrong with the products that they are selling. What's gonna happen if the product is faulty, because there is no refund, there is no exchange. So to replace that, I remember doing it, I written there we happily exchange and we happily refund on all of our products, because I thought to myself, okay, well, the cables we buy from China, the charging cable, we sell them for this, depending on the quality of the cable, the cheapest one is £5, and we buy that for less than £1, 90p. So if the customer is buying from me and the cable is not good, they come back with that cable. If I need to replace that, it's gonna cost me £1.80 for 2 cables. If I need to replace one, I can replace 3 times and still will be in profit. So why not just give a first good impression where the customer will walk into the shop and they will see, okay, well, this one they have displayed, okay, well, they happily exchange and refund. Automatically customer is satisfied before they even have tested the product. It's all about the mental satisfaction. So this was really creative thing. So for me, coming from job and starting a business, that wasn't about money, to be honest with you. It was about having a freedom to do the stuff the way I like it. So when I was working for someone else in a different company, if I thought the things will be better if we do the certain things in a different way, then I used to talk to someone and get discouraged. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, we've been doing these things from really long time, and this is the things, they work out better this way, who you are to, like, you know, those sort of things as well. Like, you were trying to change each and everything like that. My intention was always been to change for good. So these are types of things which I could easily apply when I was running my own business. So that was more about having a freedom and, you know, trying to do the creative things. So the thing is, like, what I learned, if you will start a business just for the sake of money in the beginning and you're not really passionate about it, you're gonna give up very quickly. Even when I transitions myself from a mobile phone shop to selling online, for me in the beginning, the kind of stuff which I was selling, it was not in demand with my physical customers. So I remember iPhone 6 and 7 came out at that time, and I still had iPhone 4 covers, and nobody was asking for iPhone 4 covers. So the reason for that, because obviously once you have a physical shop, the customer who can visit your shop have to be local customers. But once you have an online shop, you're not just reaching your local area, you are reaching the entire country. So in the entire country, there might be some people who still need an iPhone 4 cover. So for me was like, okay, if I sell these cost to cost as well and get my money back on the dead stock which nobody is buying in the shop, I'm still okay. Like, at least I don't have to throw them away. So I remember the eBay, when the sound ring, ching ching, like, you know, opening a till sound, that sound used to be like a kid who will see candies on Halloween. You know what I mean? That was the sort of excitement I used to get out of it. And in the beginning, I remember, like, for very longer period of time, I was not making a lot of money from my online customers as well. But it was very exciting. You know, it was paying my bill, but it was very exciting for me to start something and then launch a product and see the sale coming through. People are buying that product. It was excitement in itself, regardless how much profit I was making from it. Obviously, you know, you got to pay your bills, so I wasn't in a loss. I was making profit. I was paying my bill, but it wasn't like the way the things are now. So the first lesson I would say, if you want to get started with the business, your mindset have to be in the right sort of state. You are doing more for your own enjoyment. And I can promise you, it might not make any sense now, but I can promise you down the line, if you start with this intention, you will only grow in business because you are more gonna be consumer centric, having a good experience for your customer. And even though we are living in 2023, trust me, one of the best marketing which is more reliable is word of mouth. So if somebody will buy from your store, they might gonna tell their friends, their family, their customer, oh look, I bought this cover and it's very profitable. So it's very good quality and it's a very good price as well. So everybody naturally gonna have a trust, because someone who they trust is vouching for your store. It's words of mouth. It's the best marketing. So the second thing which I want to talk about is not being stuck. And the reason I talk about not being stuck, because one of the good thing which happened to me at that time, which I didn't realize was happening to me at that time, that I wasn't much stuck into the system. So the way I will describe that, there might be a lot of people who think, well, I'm already stuck enough in the system. Well, there is a hope for everyone. Especially, I would say this is somebody who is in early 20s will be a really, really good advice. I'm not in a position to give advice to someone. All I can do is sit here and share my story and share my experience. This is what I'm trying to do here. So I wasn't stuck into the system in a way that my capacity to take a risk was actually higher. So what do I mean by that is once you start a job, then you get a car on finance, right? You buy a house on mortgage. You probably finance your furniture or finance your mobile phone, and you have tons of direct debits hitting your account. So your salary is gone before actually it hits your account. Like, you know, it hits the account and all the direct debit, and then you got nothing left at the end of the day. So I it's a very different debate, and I don't want to go into it, but I would say the system is designed in the way to keep you within the system. You know what I mean? So the more you get stuck in it, obviously the first thing you're gonna have, like once you start a job, you might gonna get a contract for your mobile phone, so you're a little bit stuck into the system. The next thing, you finance the car, so you are more stuck into the system. The next thing, you got a house and you got a mortgage to pay on your house as well, so you're more stuck into the system as well. So naturally your capacity to take a risk will become very lower day by day. You will say, okay, well, if I quit my job now, then I got all these payments which I need to pay. So when I was in the position where I actually quit my job, the only thing which I had to pay was my room rent. Was only £220 per month. I still remember that, cheaper time in London. Now £220, nobody gonna let you use their toilet in their house. It's crazy there now. So that was the only commitment I had at that time. I never really, for me, even I don't know how the people gonna think about it. It's not just for the religious reason, but the way I probably brought up, I'm always against financing things. Like I never had a mobile phone on a contract, or I still use pay-as-you-go SIM. I top up every single month and, buy out the car. Ideally, if you don't want to buy a new, probably 2-3-year-old will be a best value for the money, because, it's already lost most of its value, but it's in a great condition. So anyway, this is, discussion going to go in a different way. But the point which I'm trying to make, the second thing which I learned is it is hard to get started. But the sooner you get started, the less you will be stuck in a system. So what will be the best time to actually start selling is actually today, not tomorrow, because tomorrow you will have another direct debit that you will have to pay as well. It's sad, but that's the way the world is. So the third thing which I want to talk about now is you have to stay extremely positive and optimistic. The business is something that you won't be able to learn by watching one of my video or two of my videos. I believe business is something, especially online business and any types of business. I've done a physical business, I've done an online business. I can talk about both of them. You will learn more when you have a hands-on experience. Once you are down there, you are doing it on every single day, you will learn more. But you have to be optimistic about it, that you can learn. I did not study anything. Like the things which I can do now, optimize a listing on Amazon, or do the search engine optimization, or design a website, or design an e-commerce store, or anything. I didn't have any formal education related to it. All my formal education, which I done a business management, it's right here, and it's been 5-6 years. I haven't even opened the zip, and this is just getting dust and rust right here. I might just want to burn it one day, but I don't know. I don't know why I don't burn it, honestly. So once you are doing the stuff yourself, you should be willing to just sit there and explore all the avenues. A lot of people will say, Zan, is it too late if I start my business in 2023? Because, you started about 10 years ago and that was a different market, and you might got lucky and all that kind of stuff as well. Tell me one thing, which market have ever been less competitive? Which business have been ever less competitive? All of the business been very, very competitive. But the advantage that you have now, which I didn't had, is all the technology, all the tools that we actually use nowadays that never existed. I would say when I started, all the YouTube, all the Google, all this free information on internet never existed before. So a lot of people now, people like me who actually run the business, have tons of experience about it. They have resources, not just my channel. There are tons of other channels as well, talking about Amazon, talking about eBay, Shopify, all that kind of stuff as well. Normally as a human being, there are a bunch of different kids talking about making money, but you as a human being, we have that our instinct to judge the BS. We know who is talking BS and who is a real deal at the end of the day. So bunch of things you can learn online. There is a solution to every problem now. If I come across a problem, I quickly can Google a solution or watch a video on a YouTube regarding eBay, Amazon, Shopify, anything. So what you need to do is you need to get started as soon as possible, and don't think about it's gonna be like, our point is to actually replace this with leave our job and do this as a full time. That's the whole point. But trust me, it's gonna happen one day. But to do that, you need to get started from somewhere, and you do need to love it. You do need to be passionate about it as well. So the third thing which I learned by doing the business is, especially when it comes to the product, a lot of people will say Zen, when I start the business, what kind of products that I will be able to sell? Before I only used to sell mobile phone and accessories, but now I'm trying to diversify my online portfolio, I would say that. My e-commerce portfolio. So the types of products which I'm launching now are more home and kitchen items. Curtains, shower curtains. Shower curtain was probably was the first product which I sold outside of my niche. And now I just sell all different kinds of products. I see how much profit margin they have. So for me, it's not more about niche, it's more about what is more profitable. And trust me, everything sells online. Everything sells online. I remember a friend of mine, he got married in Pakistan, and his wife came over and they was discussing with me, what can I do? And I wanna do something. Like the guy, he came into my house and he was like, suggest me something. I'm doing job, but I want my wife to do something different. So I was sitting down and I asked Bhabhi's sister-in-law in our language, what you are passionate about? And she said I love cooking. That's my passion. I said, the spices that we get, like a biryani masala and korma masalas and chicken handi and all that kind of stuff as well. I see a lot of people, they sell the spices of those on eBay, and why don't you try that? So literally it's about 5-6 years ago, she started to sell those spices, and she used to buy them from Mazda. Trust me, she used to go there, take a picture and fulfill the orders from Mazda. That was on a small scale. Now she actually get the spices with her name on it. She made a brand out of it, and she sell the spices on internet on the regular basis. She import them from Pakistan, and she's couple of years back, they came to see me again, and my friend, the husband, he told me, oh, she's making more money than I'm making from my job. Now he actually quit the job, and he is also working with her. They're working together now. So once we talk about what kind of products we can sell, you can literally sell everything. You don't have to be like Isaac Newton to invent a product or come up with a product which never existed before. We sell the product just with a new idea. You know what I mean? So you just all have to do is just to try something, and everything work out. And one thing I say, let's say you buy something, say from China or anywhere, and the product don't sell. I always tell people, as long as the product doesn't expire, you're never gonna lose your money. Let's say I buy this what's sitting here, hand sanitizer. It's just one example, or maybe just a plastic bottle or anything, and I can't sell that. I put the ad, I have 50 bottles of hand sanitizer on a Facebook marketplace, sell it cost to cost. Trust me, somebody will take that off from your hand who will have more knowledge. And what they're gonna do, they're gonna sell online as well, or they're gonna sell offline as well, but they obviously have more maybe resources, have more experience. They know where to sell and how to target those customers as well. So I would say it's less about the product, and sometime I get the product from China. I done all my detailed research. Everything makes sense on a paper. I got tons of experience, and I'm very optimistic about the product. The product comes to the UK and it goes completely flop, and then I'm selling in a bulk, like the way I just gave you the example. I'm trying to get rid of the product to get my money back. And sometime I will try the product, and they're like, I don't know how it's gonna work out at the end, but the product comes over, and then all of a sudden, oh wow, this is really good, I should get some more. So it's not always about going after the best things. Sometimes you just have to take the risk and try the products, and trust me, you never lose lose money out of it because you can always sell them by the example which I gave it to you. There is no right, the way I'm going to summarize this one, there is no right and there is no wrong product. It always going to be hit and miss, to be honest with you. People might disagree, but this is, trust me, I observed, I learned, happened to me a couple of times. And that's the way it goes when you are running an online business. The fourth thing which I will say I learned from the business is actually staying consistent. And consistency is something which have paid me over the long period of time. And I have seen ups and downs in the business a lot as well. I remember the time when iPhone 6 came out. iPhone 5 was a different design, so it was a bit smaller, bit thicker. When iPhone 6 came out, it was a bit slimmer. So we started to see these design leaks on a different websites. And I talked to my suppliers in China, and the thing about e-commerce is, if you want to make tons of sales, sometime when it comes to these types of products, if you sort of pre-launch them, if you sell these things before anybody else, you are probably the first seller of it. You're gonna get tons of sale because people gonna go out, they're gonna get the product, like buy the mobile phone, and then they're gonna need a cover instantly. So if you happen to sell that cover, then your cover gonna sell a lot. So normally the way the things work out is like the Apple will launch the product, and then the supplier will like have that product mobile phone physically in their hand, and then they will design the cover for it, which will have a right dimension, each and everything. So I talked to my supplier and we said like, okay, based on these leaks, if you can design me a cover and just send it over, like dimension which wasn't official from Apple website, and it was a right size in the terms of length, but in the terms of thickness, the thickness was actually less. When iPhone 6 came out, it was a bit slimmer. And I had about thousands of those covers, 1,000 quantity that I ordered initially. It was just, I would say, around £1,000, wasn't that expensive. But at the time, I was in the very early stages of my business. So having that loss, I can't return that because I ordered from a supplier at my own risk, and then I can't resell it as well because it's completely a wrong dimension. And then I had to take that fall on me. But I said, you know what, we're going to launch them. We're going to have a proper measurement now, and then we're going to get our money back out of it. So that's what we did. It recovered from it as well. But I didn't quit. I said, okay, well, now I can't do anything about it. I lost my money. I'm stupid. And I remember when I changed my job from job to running my own business. I don't have any family here. So I used to talk to my parents and I told them like, this is what I'm doing now, selling stuff on internet online. So it wasn't considered as a real job. So I was like, I'm stupid. I lost all the benefit from the job, paid holidays, and I had a consistent income and all that kind of stuff as well. I could just simply go back, and then just start working again, but leave the shop and everything. But I've been consistent, and even when I started the shop, I wasn't getting a lot of sales in the beginning. But the difference was that I started to get a lot of customers through phone calls. Wasn't a lot of people doing it because they didn't like other mobile phone shop. They wouldn't put their business on a Google or Yelp or Gumtree or anything like that. But I always used to advertise, like even my mobile phone, my repairing services, or even used to buy Google ads as well for repairing and stuff. So my, as I mentioned before, repairing was very profitable. So I used to get a lot of customer via phone call who will call me and I say, oh, I broke my screen. Can you fix it? Like how long it gonna take and all that kind of stuff. So they will, even they're not living locally, like they know this is a place to go. So they will just, before they leave the house, they're certain they're gonna get their job done. So I was getting more customers out of it. Eventually I found a way. Back in I remember in a school time, and I had a friend of mine who was my roommate. The thing about him, roommate in a sense, like I was in a boarding school. So most of my life, I would say from after the primary school, I spent my time outside of the house. Like I was in a boarding school. I was college time, I was living in a different city as well. The college had the hostel for the students who was in the college. When I was in the university time, I came to UK, so I didn't spend a lot of time like other than like a primary school. Like in a primary school, I used to go to the school from house, but after primary I was in a boarding school. So I was like from past, I would say 15 to 20 years, I've always been a guest for house. Like in a school or college time, I used to go visit house once every fortnightly. So once after 15 days, just spend one day and come back, and then now once a year like when I came to UK. So I didn't spend a lot of time around the house. So my roommate was he had one thing that he had like a timetable, so he would study every single day for 2 to 3 hours. I was like, if I have a homework, or if I need to submit some assignment, or if some test is coming, then I would like, read. I wouldn't say I was a bad student. Like I was not the most brightest one either. Like I was in the top 10 in my class, but I wasn't like, first in a class or second or third in a class. So I don't know how to put it in a nice way, but I would say intellectually, my roommate wasn't very shiny as me. Coming from my mouth, that might not sound, well, let's go for it. He wasn't, but the one thing he had was he was very consistent. And he was always in the top 10 as well. So we had this joke, when our parents sometimes used to visit us, and then they are discussing the things with each other, and they will say, my son says that your son is just sleeping all the time, but then he wakes up and he's doing good in the class as well. He's in the top 10 and he is studying all the time, and then he hardly make into the top 10. But I would say intellectually he wasn't that much shiny student, but he would still make up for it by working hard and staying consistently and doing the things consistently every single day as well. So consistency, like you get started, that's the most important thing, and then staying consistent is the second most important thing, regardless how the circumstances are going to be. So this is the fourth thing which I learned from starting a business, and then scaling it to another level is the fifth thing which I want to talk about, because it's a one thing to actually start a business, and it's another thing to actually scale a business, which I never really sort of understood from the beginning. But scaling a business where you're going to need to hire more people, you have to let a lot of things, a lot of control go, because you need to rely on other people as well. Human resources, human management, staff management is a completely different thing. Like a lot of people will know how to start a business, but they don't know how to scale a business, which honestly I didn't know, and I'm still learning until this day as well. But a lot of people, they are good at human management, but they don't have an idea to sort of start a business. So you either have a one skill and don't have another one, or you have, either one of these. So to scale a business, one thing you have to really realize, like especially once your business is making decent amount of money, it's very, how do I put this? It's very attractive to go out and do internet stuff, like, buy a flashy car or do Instagram and all that kind of stuff as well. But to be honest with you, I think most of the people who come into the business with that types of mentality, where they think they're going to get rich overnight, they don't do well in the business in the beginning anyway. So they don't get opportunity to really show off. But the people who have some like sort of decency and control over their desires, which I do have at some degree, but I am human being as well. But to scale a business, is very important to reinvest the money back into your business. And this is where you actually get more freedom. This is where you get to enjoy more freedom. Like now, I would say as compared to 3 to 4 years ago, the only thing which I did, I just grown my business. I might have 5x it as compared to 5 years ago. But now I'm actually working 5x less amount of time as well. Like I can manage like easily, 5 hours a week. I'm not talking about it like maybe 1 hour to 2 hours a day. I can easily manage it. And but the thing is, this is the time when you have to get a little bit smart and you need to reinvest and you need to, I would say, deploy the people who can actually help you scale the business for you. So you have to have a control over your desires, because it's very attractive to spend the money unwisely to make the people happy, make the people, I would say, show off to the people who don't like you at the first place anyway. It becomes very attractive. So you gotta reinvest back in your business. Before I go, the last thing which I want to talk about, because I don't want it to be 2 hours, but at least with the podcast, I have a freedom to probably talk in the details as well. First of all, do let me know if you do like it. Leave me, I will actually link a form inside the description where you will be able to ask me different questions as well. For the next episode, I will actually answer those questions at the end, because I wanna have it more like Q&A at the same time after every episode. So I will put the form inside the description where you will be able to fill that form out and ask me questions for the next episode, and I will answer those questions as well. But the last thing which I want to talk about is, look, at the end of the day, I'm not a person who will say that quit your job and the business is the only way. That might go against each and everything which I have said, But I do want to say, because it's not like starting a business isn't the only way to get your freedom. Everybody gonna have a different definition of freedom. A lot of people, I see them very happy. They have their 9-to-5 job. They say, I don't want to get a lot of, because business is stressful at the end of the day. I don't want to go through the stress of the business. As long as you're happy, you keep on doing it. But it's a very dangerous position to be in, where you are unhappy about a certain thing and you don't do anything about it. You know what I mean? So if you're somebody who don't see the growth in your job, then you gotta start. You have to do something to change it. And then come with the attitude which I talked about, because it's going to take time. It might not be long time, depends on how quickly you can learn and how quickly you can implement and how consistent you're going to stay at the end of the day. But if you don't take action and do something to change, and you stay where you are and you choose to be unhappy, even though you have a choice to change it, that's a very dangerous position to be in. So this is where I was, and I got out of it, and it's the best feeling. I will see you next week with this podcast. We will have a regular episodes, like a regular videos coming out on the channel as well. Do let me know if you like the name Real Business Podcast, and also if the questions, I'm going to link the form inside the description. Make sure you check it out along with all the other programs which I have. If you are interested in it, do have a look at those as well. And I will see you on next Sunday.